As Trump and Modi refine plans for the IMEC Global Energy Corridor through Netanyahu's Israel, Trump's nuclear energy needs now focus on Australia, where Adani control the Avid port and the Carmichael coal mine.
The Trump administration wants Australia to go nuclear. Recently, during a conference in the United Kingdom, US President Donald Trump's top energy official, the American Energy Secretary Chris Wright, urged Australia to overturn its self-imposed ban on nuclear energy and begin exporting enriched uranium. He said that he would love to see Australia get in the game of supplying uranium and maybe going down the nuclear road themselves. Wright claims that it would be quote-unquote a tremendous resource.
Opposition Liberal Party leader Peter Dutton consequently introduced, as part of his election bid, a push for Australia to develop a nuclear power industry. Dutton pitched a nuclear power industry on the back of Australia's existing AUKUS nuclear submarine arrangement with the US and the UK. Namely, that it would contribute to Australia's defence needs.
The AUKUS legislation that enables the nuclear reactor to be a part of our defence force and to be a key technology for us to defend ourselves.
Dutton's direct mimicking of Trump policies in the lead-up to the election, including in his choice of a minister to head a government efficiency crackdown, had him referred to as Trump Light, a vision of Australian sovereignty subordinated to US war policy in the Indo-Pacific. Or, as some Aussie pundits termed Dutton, Temu Trump.
Do you want to make Australia great again?
Is that an ode to Donald Trump?
We can make Australia great again.
Our relationship between the United States Marine Corps and the Australian Defence Force is incredibly important. I'd say it's critical.
As the attitudes of many Australians toward Trump changed following the US president's announced tariff policies, the AUKUS defense agreement with the US also began to be questioned.
People say, will Donald Trump like it? Well, of course he'd like it. It's such a bad deal for us. His only thing would be back of his mind, he'll be thinking, who are these dumb guys that agreed to this deal?
I think the priority at the moment should be to end AUKUS, to end the AUKUS agreement.
Inherent and evident US war policy strategization of AUKUS in the Indo-Pacific is the Quad arrangement, tying US/Australia allegiances with Modi's India and thus the US/India/Israel plans for IMEC.
India's bilateral ties will now have an added edge, with Adani Group venturing into defense manufacturing and technology-driven warfare tools. Think cyber warfare, drones, unmanned ground vehicles, and next-generation weapons R&D.
Should a Dutton win install a nuclear power defense industry, so too is it possible that Dutton would recommence the sale of enriched uranium to India, where Adani are now invested in both India's nuclear sector and, with Gautam Adani's $10 billion pledge to Trump, both US nuclear and defense industries.
And we have 38% of the world's easily recoverable uranium reserves. And the amazing thing is that we are busily dismantling natural advantages that Providence gave us with fossil fuels, uranium, natural gas, although Peter Dutton's got a very good plan on natural gas, and coal, of course.
Significantly, Adani's investments in Australian mining and renewable sectors thus arguably strategically position the Adani Group for potential integration into any Australia nuclear and enriched uranium supply industry. Indeed, in a meeting between Gautam Adani and then Coalition Senator Matt Canavan, a singular supporter of Adani's enterprises in Australia, Canavan alluded to Australia's suspended existing arrangement to supply India with enriched uranium. As reported by First Post Media on August 28, 2019, Canavan stated that he was also on his way to discuss such potential arrangements with an Indian Minister for Atomic Energy. Canavan, an evident denier of climate change and ardent fossil fuel industry advocate, long petitioned for Adani to commence its Australian enterprise in Queensland's Carmichael coal mine.
I often say now, I've been fighting to get the Adani mine going for years.
Canavan's claim of the employment benefits to locals offered by Adani, however, contradicts the reality of the Adani Group's practices even in its native India.
અદાણી કંપની તરફથી અને અદાણીના પ્રોજેક્ટ તરફથી જે તકલીફ થઈ છે એવી જ રીતે બીજે ક્યાં પણ પ્રોજેક્ટ આવતું હોય તો એવા લોકોને હું ખરેખર અંતરથી એવી ભલામણ કરું છું અને સૂચના આપું કે મિત્રો આ અદાણી કંપની એવી કંપની છે જે વાત એક કરશે અને પ્રોજેક્ટ બીજું નાખશે.
The Adani Group's hollow promises, coupled with its questionable, even US SEC indictable, corporate ethics, were also evident to more sinister intent in its secret contractual conditions for renovating an airport in Kenya. An airport deal, which under its existing terms, would see Adani further develop key ports to support its global energy supply route agenda, as influencing their partial takeover of Israel's Haifa port.
The contract which has been signed means that all the other airports cannot be refurbished, cannot be changed, cannot be repaired until that airport is built and until Adani has finished operating it in the period of 30 years. Adani has been given another contract for them to take Ketrako. Somebody whispered to me that there's a likelihood that Adani might also be given Kengen, and finally what Adani wants is to take over the port of Mombasa.
The accusations of improper procedure, overcharging and secret contract stipulations also led to Sri Lanka's decision to halt all dealings with Adani Green and the Adani Group. Although Gautam Adani was indicted by the US SEC on bribery and corruption charges, before President Trump's suspension of any further investigation or prosecution, and Australia's Adani deals involve the same Adani Green Company, no investigation into Canavan's dealings with Adani were forthcoming. Nor did Canavan ever face serious questioning about this and his evidently nuclear, uranium talks.
This is a march against Adani, and we need action. We need to make sure that Adani doesn't go ahead, because we have 12 years to become carbon neutral. If we don't, it's going to be basically irreversible to stop dramatic climate change.
Donald Trump is betting big on fossil fuel production. Since he came into office last month, he has declared a national emergency to support fossil fuels. It is worsening climate change to the point that it may cause more than 14 million deaths by 2050 and may lead to more than $12 trillion in economic losses. But it seems that for political leaders, short-term economic goals take precedence over the loss of life.
To which, the proposed nuclear, defense subordination of Australian sovereignty to US war strategy is arguably being promoted on the basis of being tough against a media-manufactured China threat.
The United States has made it clear that China is enemy number one. Australia has dutifully joined in adopting a hostile attitude towards China, our principal trading partner. So we now have the schizophrenic policy of pleading with China to buy ever more of our exports so that we can earn enough money to pay for the armaments from America that we will use in a war against China.